Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Quick reminder, please join me on the locals, which I just opened up the account there. You can also choose, if you choose to support me financially, you can choose the amount. So join me there, Rumble as well. There is a new channel that I've started, and join my mailing list. Every other link will be down below the video. Today, I wanted to start with something that actually made me quite upset, and usually I don't talk about things like this in this tone of voice, but today I decided to do so. And the reason for it is this. This is my channel, as you all know. I am beyond grateful for each and every one of you coming across me, watching the videos, commenting under the videos, sending me emails, and just being part of this community and being on this journey with me. However, recently, I started to receive certain emails. I would mention one email, but also certain comments that I don't appreciate, and I will not allow that to continue. One email said that because I have someone who I actually very much care for and appreciate, who's reading tarot cards, I must be the soldier of Satan. First of all, I just want to say this up front. If you don't read my energy, nor energy of my guests, then I cannot help you with that. Second of all, if this brings you this much pain and suffering, either you are crazy watching or you are a masochist. So choice is yours. You don't have to watch this. You don't have to agree with this. You're welcome to go to other channels, or you're welcome to stay. And like I said many times before, enjoy different conversations with different guests. I will not allow this kind of comments or attacks, or it's just not the way to do it. And I want to end with this. This is my channel that I have created with intention to be free, to seek the truth, to create great community, and to ask deep questions from the most incredible guests that are unique and diverse, okay? And I tell you that no one will deprive me of the joy that I have connecting with those people. This was my last word. I'm not gonna allow those comments. Welcome back, Ashala.
Thank you, Anya. Thank you. May I speak just briefly about this? Because obviously, doing this work over the last 25 years, working with different divination tools. The word divination means communication with divine source. And I've run into this kind of challenge and critique many, many times over the years. And yet, surprisingly less than you might think. And that is because of the energy that I carry, and people can see where my heart is coming from. They can see my light, and they can see my beautiful intentions and feel my positive, supportive, encouraging energy. But what I just want to clarify a little bit about working with the tarot as a tool, I understand that it has a really challenging mixed review, and I cover a lot of that in I've got a free masterclass available on my website that goes into the history of tarot and how we've arrived at this place where it's seen in that very dubious way. But no matter what the tool is, it's really the hands of the person that is wielding that tool that matters the most, and how they are using that tool, how much integrity they're bringing into that work, into that practice. And I always tell my students, this is not, each and every time I do a reading, I don't go in thinking that I know it all, or that, this tool is perfect. I go in humbly with a lot of gratitude, a lot of humility as a beginner. And it's really about what energy, what bandwidth or frequency I'm willing to receive messages on. And that bandwidth is the frequency of love. It's the bandwidth of the heart. So anything that doesn't resonate on that bandwidth, I'm not open to hearing or seeing. And that's why in some ways, some people could say, oh, well, your readings are a little bit, fluffy or positive, or maybe somewhat naive. And truly, I sense and know a lot more than what I say, but words are very powerful. And I'm aware of the power that we're working with here. And so I always bring forth the information in a way that is positive and encouraging, that really supports people making good choices with their free will, and that is aligned with the greater good of all. So that's my bottom line.
Thank you, Ashala. I appreciate you so much. And I am always, always happy to connect with you.
Thank you, Anya.
So today, I have again 3 questions. And the first one, I would like to start, and please excuse my English. So Ashala, correct me if I misspell certain words, because I want to give a little bit context to the first question. What is indictment? The legal indictment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is an outcome of a grand jury proceeding and is a written accusation where the jury accuses a person of committing a crime. As a result of indictment, the criminal charges are filed against the person and the criminal case begins. My first question is this. And this is, again, as I listen to Tori, who truly is my number one as far as info. She said that as we are looking, I don't watch it, but the whole January 6th committee going on in the United States is leading to indicting Trump either in August or September. At the same time, they will remove Biden, saying as he's sick and he's not able to continue with the presidential position, and media will run the story of Trump being indicted, if I pronounce it correct. Literally, they will show up in Mar-a-Lago, and at the same time, Biden will be removed, which we all know this is leading towards it with all this information coming out about his son and him being, you know, not mentally clear. So the point is this: the media will focus all the attention on Trump's indictment. Now, there might be charges, however, he's not going to be prosecuted. That's what she said, because they have enough, that group has enough evidence to show the crimes and the November event that was not honest, let's say this way around. So I would like you to look into this situation, Ashala, how this will unfold with his being indicted. Is it correct how I said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, what I'm getting is that it doesn't stop here. This is us, 10 of Swords. It's kind of like, feels like a culmination and the end of the line in terms of like where all this is going and what needs to happen. And what was the date you said for this? October?
August, September. I would say September, but it might go into October.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm getting like 10 weeks, which takes us into, yeah, that takes us into the end of September and early October. There feels like by that time, by the middle of August, there is a new path. So in terms of will he be indicted, I feel like no. I feel like no. That there is something else going to be happening by the middle of August. There's going to be a new, so yeah, this is one option. So there's 2 choices. I keep getting a woman. There's a woman here that is going to be offering, presented as an alternative or some other, there's going to be some new direction.
As an alternative to the current presidency?
Mm-hmm.
We know who.
Yeah.
They're going to push her forward. Yeah, they're going to try to push her forward, and it might create a turmoil in US.
Yes. However, there's a lot of different variables going on here. There's a lot of different possibilities. And this also feels like an underground movement that is gaining momentum, that's very positive. So we've got a lot of different, literally like balls in the air like this, you know, a lot of different ways that things could go. But in terms of ultimately, look at this, in the present, that's a very good card in terms of looking at it from our side of things. And in the future, this card, the strength card, is about like basically gathering our resources and coming forward with our greatest, like, pardon the pun, but our trump cards, coming forward with our greatest strengths and a new independent platform. So this could even see the shift away from our, you know, classic party politics into a different type of platform. So the whole thing is changing. The whole thing is changing. And in terms of just the question about the indictment, that feels like a no. That by the time we get to that place, it's the whole climate has changed by that time.
All right, let's see how this unfolds. Second question is about, again, something that she mentioned, and that is that, and I'm talking US now, which ultimately means the Western world. What they are trying to do is to create something that will be called like a new passport. And what it will be, the new passport will require one blood sample that will be able to, by that they will be able to check if you have this thing, because as we know, this thing alters your DNA. So they are able to check if you had it or if you hadn't. Now, that will also be connected with the social credit system. And I would like to know, this is a very serious question, and this is very dark vision, which I don't really want to focus on. However, I would like to know if this will be implemented, Ashala, and if this will become a reality.
Again, what I'm getting is even in the sleeping masses, people are getting very exhausted, being poked and prodded. This is a card that has to do with like literally putting up barriers and going, enough already. Don't, it's like literally I'm feeling the masses going, just stop invading me, stop touching me, stop like coming into my space. So it feels like there's an energy of emotional response. It's almost like we are beyond the, you know, the debates about the science and all of this stuff. It's like people are just viscerally, emotionally, like stop poking me with needles and take it, you know. So the answer, look at that, like being poked, literally. I feel like it's no at some point, and especially around children. The straw that breaks the camel's back is going to be children. People are going to go, I'm not going to take my child in to have a blood test to get. So it's like we're, again, you know, this is a beautiful time to mend the bridge with a lot of the people who've chosen to go what looked like the easier route, but they're just, it never stops, right? They're still being inundated, they're still being attacked. And even if they haven't, what I've been seeing in my readings is I don't really even see that they're going to figure it out up here in their minds, but something in their bodies is just going to be like, no, stop. Like, so I would.
But do you see the attempt still? They will try, right?
There's the attempt, and there's a lot of momentum in the counter movement, including a lot of people being supported to deal with vaccine injury, and more of that information coming out. So even if people are still going, oh, you know, here's these people over here, they're real extremists and we don't buy into anything that they're saying, but
just be careful with the word. Be careful with the word.
But they're going to over here start saying, you know, like one-off cases are going to hit home, and they're going to go, yeah, just I'm going to back off and not, I don't feel trusting enough to just go forward with any further things. So yeah, I feel like ultimately it's not going to succeed. And there's part of that is going to be because more information is coming out about the injuries.
All right, the last question is, as many of my viewers know, we are about to have the 7th package of the sanctions, 7th, being placed on Russia by European Union and those countries, 7th, okay? I would like to know, Ashala, when those sanctions will end and how that ending will look like for the countries that place them on Russia.
Okay, well, this does not feel fast. It should be, but it feels stuck. There's a rut here. It's the situation has got into a rut. People have basically chosen their side or their perspective, and they're like dug their heels in, and we're at a bit of a stalemate in terms of shifting that. So here we are at the moment. It's impacting the global economic situation. There's more vulnerability that will follow, and people will slowly begin to realize the long-term consequences of this. However, on a positive note, this is our advice. So our advice is to, again, as I've been saying for a long time, let a lot of that fall away, because it's inspiring a new kind of economy. It's inspiring more grassroots. It's inspiring like a more of a underground, independent. Exactly. It's inspiring people to disconnect from the state, whatever state it is, and from that, you know, centralized economic system, centralized power and authority. And we're going to see a lot of ingenious alternatives springing up in the next 6 months. Like, wow, that's really exciting. And there's going to be, I feel, even sooner than we might think, there's going to be where people are backpedaling. You know, some of these heads of state are backpedaling and saying, oh, we made a mistake. So I get that there's, you know, it might take a while. It could even be 6 months or longer, but there is, so like, they're starting to backpedal basically and say, oh, I've made a mistake. So how all those different things are going to interact, but it does still feel like we've got a ways to go here. These are major arcana cards. They usually take at least 6 months, if not a year, to fulfill. And we've got 2 of them back to back, and they're both pretty challenging. So I don't think we've seen the end of this, unfortunately.
We have to embrace it, and this is my point.
Embrace it.
Not living in a la la land delusion that, you know, there is a rescuer coming on the white horse and is gonna fix with a magic wand everything. Like, let's be realistic, right? This is going to be the reality for many people for quite some time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting, what you want to pay attention to is how these global leaders, like, just, you know, it's almost like all they have to do is like say, oh, sorry, I made a mistake, and they're off the hook, right?
Yeah,
It's
just
like,
leave the sanctions. Just leave the sanctions.
yeah, but I'm saying, like, it even down the road, it's like they're not accountable for these choices that they're making that are affecting us all. All they have to do is say, oh, oops, sorry, I made a mistake. And, you know, so I feel like there's something very powerful here about facing the degree of lack of accountability that's going on with these international heads of state. Like, they're like children, they get away with everything, you know. It's like,
yes,
they can have a tantrum, they can make a big mess, and we all have to deal with it, and then they go, oops, sorry, I'm just a kid, I made a mistake, you know, I'm just a human, I made an error. It's like, so this is what we're looking at, is like, what kind of maturity is required to actually lead a state, you know. Like, if people are not thinking ahead 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I mean, good heavens, right? Like, if they can't even think ahead 3 months, why are they representing us? This is ludicrous. It's craziness, you know. So that's what I feel like they're going to start going, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And that's where we need to say, that's your last strike, you know.
But Ashala, look, honestly, I feel like 2 things about this, what you just said. First, I feel this way. What it will take for people to realize, look at Germany, is industrial country. When you destroy the factories that took years and years to be created, to have a production line, this is a whole structure that if it's brought down, you cannot rebuild it just like this. You cannot click your fingers and it's back. It's not, it takes time to not only sustain it, but even if you want to rebuild it, it's not easy process. So maybe that fall, and that right in the face of people think, oh my goodness, this is actually gone, this is done, this is thousands and thousands of people have no more job because of this, factories, productions are gone. That will actually bring those governments down. Those sanctions and the consequences will bring, including Poland, all those governments down ultimately. That's how I feel.
It will. And like I said, all they have to do, the leaders, is just say, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. And so it's like us thinking now, how do we begin to strategize to hold them accountable? And this is the conversation we need to be having.
Okay.
Yeah, it's accountability, you know, it really is about, like, thinking further ahead than just what the immediate childish response is to these very large and complex issues. And
don't you think, can I ask you this, besides the reading now, just me and you talking, don't you think that the reason for those incompetent leaders governing people, there are many reasons, but I think one of the reasons is this, that many people still want someone to tell them what to do. Because they are not, they want to be, they are followers and they are leaders, okay? And I think the point is this, we don't need politicians anymore. We need, if there is a minister of finances, we need a savvy, experienced businessman who is successful in his business, who actually maybe went bankrupt a few times and rebuilt himself over and over again because he knows how to do it. We need someone who is caring deeply, sincerely for the people in the medical field to be the health minister. This is quite simple, right, Ashala? Someone who loves children to be in the education.
Absolutely. Some people with expertise and experience. I mean, if you think about it, like I know all kinds of very experienced, highly trained professionals in all sorts of different disciplines. Any one of those that are my friends would do a better job of running these country or these, you know, specific organizations or whatever.
What you do with the money, what you do with medical services, because they worked in those hospitals, because they've seen the situation. And someone who has integrity and cannot be bought and corrupt.
So it is, we are basically looking, as you say, I love what you said, that it is actually at the root of it's our individual maturing to say, you know, we don't want to just be cared for and directed around. We're willing, if we're going to be more autonomous, we have to act more autonomous, which means we have to start creating these alternative models in our own lives and disconnecting more and more from that unhealthy system. If we're not connected to it, it's really going to crumble faster and have less and less of an impact on us. So it's hard work.
But one more thing, and also live our own lives with integrity.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And mature within ourselves, do our own inner work. The more of us that do that, that lifts the collective energy to that level where it becomes just so obvious that this is on its way out, this old system. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashala. Thank you so much for coming on today. Everyone who is interested in Ashala's readings, the website is down below the video. Also, Ashala's YouTube channel. Check it out. You have all the links to me as well, to the new platforms. And if you appreciate this conversation, just hit that like. It doesn't hurt. I appreciate this very much. And until next time, thank you everyone for watching. Lots of love.